How we doing, Denver? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you as well, Garrett. How are things going?
Just dealing with this heat wave. I think they're showing 100, 105 this week, so
Hmm.
be inside or in the pool.
That's right. That's right. Well, we got
Uh,
a pretty cool topic for today, going through the cost forecast and the new ProNovos application focused around, helping automate the cost forecast a little bit. Talk through how Nova can help out with, updating some of the numbers in the cost forecast as it relates to the worksheet, the monthly forecast for each of the jobs, and then taking a look at some of the newer features with some of the AI summaries and just some really cool stuff that we've been working on here over the last couple months here. So, like I said, where we want to focus today is going to be in the cost forecast. So I have one of our jobs pulled up here. Um, so basically, as people are familiar enough with the current iteration of the cost forecast. I will point out some differences too with how we're able to track some of the different methods for the cost forecast. But what I want to also take a look at is, like I said, some of the AI functionality that we've incorporated into the platform as well. So one of the bigger things here is being able to, like I said, use Nova to help streamline a lot of the forecasting in the platform. So what we can see here is we've got some adjustments in there, whether it's, what the dollar amounts are, what the root causes are. So similar to what we have in the platform today, but as we go through our list here, we can take a look at each of the individual line items for, what the budget is, costs, projected final cost, cost to complete, percent complete, right? The pretty standard items to be included in the cost forecast. But what we can help utilize with Nova is taking a look at making some of these updates or going through here and helping or having Nova help make those updates. So if I wanted to say select all these items and say I want to update the cost forecast for any remaining costs to be increased by 10%, right? So the idea here is being able to go through the list and say, well, hey, take any of these costs to complete amounts and let's bump them up by 10% here, right? So we've selected everything here. We can type our command in here. We can also do the voice dictation as well. So if we just wanted to kind of talk into Nova and have the platform take action on that as well, it most certainly could. So you can see here that looking through the list of line items, 100% done. So we're not going to change those ones. But for the ones that did have a cost to complete, we told it to update it by 10%. So it took their 2,000 up to 2,200, so on and so forth down the list. And it has it updated automatically, right? So there are ways that you can put kind of like a, hey, I want to apply these changes before, actually doing it. Or in my case here, I just want to say, go ahead and do it. If you needed to undo it, most certainly could. But in this case, we want to take our new dollar amounts, apply them across the board for anything that had cost to complete still out there, right? So now that I've got my new cost to complete, what I can, prompt in with Nova is say, take me to the monthly forecast. Okay. What's really cool about the way that Nova is incorporated in the platform is it will just go ahead, take me right to the monthly cost forecast for that job. We can then see what our new cost to complete is for this particular project. We've got our date range in here, and now we can say, all right, we've got our remaining months for some of these line items here. So we want to go ahead and say, we'll keep it simple here and just say, allocate remaining costs on a linear schedule the remainder of the job. So it'll go through, and there are other options. If I didn't specify a linear schedule, it could go ahead and just give it a prompt here, but it can do, you know, front loaded, bell curves, etc. But for me specifically, just keeping it simple here, I just want to say take those remaining amounts, so our $2,200 across the remainder of the job. So now we can see here as we scroll on over to our current and future months here, that it's going to take those remaining dollars and evenly distribute those, you know, any of them that had those costs to complete, right? So anything that has costs left over, it'll go ahead, allocate those out for each one of those particular line items. And there, like I said, there are some other methods of doing that. So if I wanted to, you know, clicking up into the forecast with Nova would allow us to say, all right, what line items, we'll say labor here. And then this can, like I said, just help take the manual effort out of the, you know, process of typing all of these in or even applying the percentages. We can use Nova to help speed this up. Now, some of the differences I was talking about earlier with the new platform is being able to pick the level of detail that we want the monthly forecast to be. So out of the box, you know, we want to do it by cost, code, and class. If we wanted to switch it to either just the job, so just monthly cost forecast for the job as a whole, we could do just simply by cost code, or we could simply do it by cost class, which if we switch it here, would kind of trim up the list for, so that way we just see, you know, total labor, total burden, consultants, miscellaneous material, temp labor. So we can kind of combine those into these more simplified categories. That way, if it makes more sense to just say, hey, here's the remaining cost for the labor or the burden or the material, we can change the level of detail by adjusting the settings at the top. Right. So with utilizing Nova to handle kind of the forecasting side of it, to be able to, you know, buff up my cost to complete or assign my remaining costs based on the remaining schedule here. Once everything is completed, right? We've completed everything here. Back within the cost forecast worksheet is where we can then submit our forecast and say we're completed with that particular job in this case. So what we can do is go ahead and give me the open the monthly, forecast it. Must not have saved the last piece of it. Yep. So we will pick our reasons for what those cost differences are attributed to. So once everything is assigned, it will then be able to complete everything here. And then let's see. Yeah, once we confirm it, it'll then be able to finish what it's doing here. And then the big thing is finishing the monthly forecast. Yep. So apply those edits. And we can go back to our forecast. And then we can submit the cost forecast. Now, what this is doing is just saying, all right, I am finished with it. Now, before it finishes, it's just going to give you any sort of, blockers. Hey, maybe we didn't put in a root cause for something. So what we want to do here, we want to say it's we'll just say, just acknowledge it. Just to give it something, so that way when we're looking at those adjustments by root cause, it can assign those reasons, start tracking it as well. So once all the blockers are making sure that all the reasons are taken into consideration, it'll then give us this cost forecast report, which I think is really cool for the fact that it'll kind of give us an AI summary for the job as a whole. It'll give us kind of the high level numbers for what's the contract, what's the projected cost, what's our profit margin. But in this case, we can see that we're at a $8,500 overrun, and we're going to be at a negative profit margin for this particular job because we have our contract amount being at 39,000 and our projected cost at 44,000. So what we're seeing here is just, hey, we're 100% billed, costs are only at 78% done. So just giving you a nice summary of what the status of this job is, and it'll start going through each of the different sections of what's the recommended next steps or risk assessments. But being able to take this information, feed it into Nova, and give kind of that executive level summary for the job as a whole in each one of those line items, right? And I think, Garrett, compared to the current iteration of ProNovos, we can obviously put the adjustments in, track the reasons for it, and it works really well. But I think adding this on top of it to kind of give us some call outs to maybe what those next steps are, I think can be really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think it's good, like just kind of guiding the user through the journey, and obviously less manual effort. And just, I know we've gotten a decent amount of clients in there with credentials, and that's just kind of the feedback I've gotten is, the PMs, you don't have to search for information or you go line item by line item. It's just open up Nova and this slice and dice it right away for you. So I think overall it's been good.
Yeah, and like I said, or like we are mentioning here, like obviously this is a ton of awesome information to see, like, hey, what's the budget, final cost, what's the variance for each thing in the list here. But having Nova kind of guide you around, like, just take me there, right? Like, hey, take me to the monthly forecast, right? That way, instead of having to click through it, just kind of type it in there. It'll open it up, and that way, if we want to get to a place within the system and kind of keep that workflow going, we can kind of use Nova to help with that. But I think some
Yeah,
of the
that's what
bigger,
I've kind of heard as well.
yeah,
Obviously, we have a lot of out of the box dashboards in the marketplace and a lot of financial tools now. So, just open up Nova and get right to where you want to go. I think people see the value in that.
And two, given more flexibility with some of the different projection methods, right? So maybe not everybody will want to break down their cost schedule by cost code and class, or phase and cost code and class. So given a little bit more flexibility in what level of detail we want to forecast it at, I think is going to be really awesome as well. Now, probably won't get to this today, but there is an option here to actually upload the schedule. So if we do have a schedule kind of built outside of the platform and wanted to upload it here, we can actually use Nova to interpret the schedule that is uploaded, compare that to each of our line items. So that way we can get a pretty good representation of where those costs are going to be accrued for the remainder of the job as well. Right. Right. So as far as for what we want to cover today is looking strictly at the cost forecast, how kind of Nova can help interpret the information. Like I said, going into once those forecasts are submitted as well, you can always go into the little icon here and then kind of click back into it. Hey, this is the June forecast that we submitted. So we can always access these at any time. So that way all of the information is still readily available without losing it or needing to PDF or save it right then and there. So each time these are submitted, the PMs have access, the management team has access, everyone has full visibility into, you know, all the things that are going on with the job. Right. And two, being able to, you know, like I said, upload the schedules or take into consideration the drawings or the documents or photos can help build the cost forecast as well. So there is a lot that can be done from the Nova side of things to assist with all things that are considered with the cost forecast here. Right. So that's kind of what our topic for today was, is going through here, utilizing Nova to take you around the system, update the platform, update the jobs, and, you know, just making things easier. So if there's questions, comments, curiosities, we'd love to also hear if you have any feedback around you know, the level of information or the incorporation of AI within the platform as well. I know everyone's trying to get their foot in the door with using AI these days. So we just want to make sure that we're providing a system that not only, you know, provides valuable insights for reporting, but also kind of making sure that we're taking the appropriate steps to keep everything up to speed and up to date, and, you know, make life as easy as possible. So we'll give it a couple minutes here and see if anyone has any questions or thoughts or concerns, and then we'll wrap it up after that, and then we'll obviously have this out on our YouTube page as well. So if anyone wants to review this later on, they most certainly can. And then you know, if there's any interest in seeing more about the platform, we're more than happy to show it off as well.
And I believe our next one kind of continues on AI as well with AP workflow. So some good stuff coming up.
Yes, and I think that should be in 2 weeks. Yeah, that'll be the accounts payable AI workflow. That's right. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any questions or anything come through the chat. So if anyone does have anything after the fact, please feel free to reach out to Garrett or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions or go through just anything else that anyone comes across. But we thank everyone for joining us today and kind of seeing a little bit more of the new platform and kind of what we have on the roadmap for you know, all things related to ProNovos and Nova.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks all, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Appreciate your time today, Garrett, and hope everyone has a good rest of their day.
You as well. Enjoy.
All right, bye.